The Ryan Ries Show from Southern California. This is The Ryan Ries Show. Post your questions using @Ryan Ries on his Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Are you ready?
All right, tonight it's going down. Thank you guys for tuning in. I got one of my friends, my new friends, in studio. I was down at a conference, Calvary Chapel Vista, I don't even know how many months ago. It was definitely during COVID, and we were down there for this youth conference, and I showed up, and they said, hey, we got this pro scooter rider coming down. He's going to be breaking it off at this little mini ramp. Come down and check it out. And I got to meet you, Cody, down there, and I got introduced. Ben Corson actually connected us. So I was like, all right, he's good people because Ben's cool. So Cody's cool. Dude, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Do you want to pronounce your last name? Because I always mess up everyone's last names.
Yeah, my last name is Flum.
Flum, okay. Yeah. I know, I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to say this because it's going to be wrong. Flum, Cody Flom. And you're a professional
Scooter
rider.
Yep.
Dude, how long in the heck have you been doing that?
About 11 years now.
11? So how old are you?
I'm 20.
20.
Yep.
Right before we got live on the show, I was tripping out because when I started the Whosoevers back in 2009, I hired a guy to come out from Australia, and he was going to do all the graphic design stuff and build our website, etc. And he got here, and because of my roots in skateboarding, since I was 7 years old, I started skateboarding, and I'm old now. Many years ago, still skateboarding though. He was like, dude, mate, I just built this website, and it's a scooter company, and they're literally everywhere in Australia because scootering existed, rollerblading existed, riding bikes existed, skateboarding existed, but it wasn't like this massive thing. And because they had the Razor scooters, and I remember looking at Razors, I was like, dude, those wheels are they look like rollerblade wheels.
Yeah.
Like, how do you ride that scooter and how can you do like big stuff with it? It just didn't seem comfortable or sturdy enough. And he's like, no, mate, check these scooters out. And they look like full-on handlebars, big wide bars, reinforced, materials, bigger wheels. And I remember he showed me, and from that point on, I went to Australia. Scooters were everywhere. And then it's almost seemed like it birthed like over there kind of, and then it like infiltrated in America. Is that how it worked?
More or less. I definitely grew up watching a lot more videos from people in Australia than I did from people in the States.
Because it launched here, and then it's like they just set it up correctly. They built the right scooters.
It seems that way, yes.
Right. But those Aussies are crazy.
Honestly, in any level or discipline in action sports, it seems like that's a reoccurring theme.
Aussies, huh? Skateboarding, surfing. I don't know if there's any Aussie snowboarders. I would have to look that up. But dirt biking.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, they're nuts.
Yeah, for real.
The Aussies, dude.
Yeah, it's insane.
Have you been over to Australia?
I have, yes.
How was that experience over there?
It was pretty awesome. I spent Pro Series 2016 and 2017 there. So Pro Series is a 3 competition tournament, basically. And then your overall ranking within those 3 contests go into your final result. And I think 2017, I ended up in 2nd. And then the year prior, I was in like 5th or something.
Sick.
Yeah.
Those Aussies.
Dude, yeah.
So it's international. Everyone came out from different from different areas. What countries would be represented out there at that contest?
Dude, all over Europe and U.S., Canada, and
Asia?
Australia.
How about Asia?
So we don't have a very big scene in Asia right now.
Really?
We have literally like one head professional scooter rider that is like repping Japan like hard. But
I was gonna say Japan.
Yeah. Other than that, there's not many people in Asia.
It hasn't even hit there yet.
No.
So there's still a huge market for it to expand. Dude, but that's just the way that's the way it goes. Someone shows up. Sorry, I'm coughing over here. Someone shows up with a scooter, they break it off, they see him send it down some stairs, and they're like, we need this.
Yep, basically.
So go to Asia as soon as
Dude, I want to. One of these days I'm going to make it before the whole COVID thing happened. I was like, I'm coming out to you, Sogo. That's one of my friends who's a pro over there. I'm going to come out to you. I'm going to stay with you and, show them what we can do on scooters. But it just hasn't come to that time yet.
Asia has a lot of spots. Like I remember when skaters discovered China, and all of a sudden, dude, it was just like these massive tours. And then like Singapore has tons of spots, really clean, nice, marble ledges, good rails, and all that stuff. And but Singapore, dude, like if you spit on the ground and they see you, they'll cane you.
Wait,
like,
really?
Yeah, no. Like when you go to fly into Singapore, you have to sign saying, like, when you have a customs form when you're coming in, do you have over $200 extra on that? The customs form, it says if you have narcotics or anything illegal or guns or whatever, you could be sentenced to death.
Oh my
God. You're literally signing your death certificate if you have any of that.
Oh my gosh.
And then if you get caught like spitting on the ground or throwing gum on the ground or something, they'll literally take you and cane you.
Oh my gosh.
Like beat you.
Oh my gosh.
But that's Singapore.
Yeah, sure.
So when we got there, we were doing a layover from Australia to Singapore, or we were coming from Europe. Then we had to stop in Singapore to Australia, and we were there for the night. I told the whole team, I was with the whole Circa team, because I used to manage a skateboard team, and I was like, guys, don't do anything, like, because everyone's smoked. I put your cigarette butts inside here, like, don't get wild, don't spit, do nothing. But but Asia and Japan too, so amazing. They used to have trade shows and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, with all that said, that's sick, man. So you've been placing, you've been doing your thing. You're a professional at this point. Let's plug your sponsors, because that's a good thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm riding for Lucky Scooters, one of the biggest companies in scootering that manufactures scooters. They've been kind enough to me to give me. We're going on 4 years of signature parts and scooters, which has been super cool. And then my shop sponsor is the Volt Pro Scooters. They retail all brands of scooters and Action Space as well.
Where are they located?
Lucky is here in the States, and so is the Vault. They're up in Culver City.
So when you say signature pieces, so you have your own wheels?
Wheels, deck, and this year, which is new, so the first 2 years I did signature parts, I only had deck and wheels, but this year we did a full complete scooter.
Got it. Wait, so is the deck, but what about the bars? Is that separate?
Yeah.
Separate piece? Okay.
Right. Yep.
Got it. So you got the whole thing.
Yeah.
So how much do these things go for retail?
Right now they're going for $240 for the full complete scooter. But if you build it just like customized, it's going to add up a little bit faster.
Right. What kind of bearings you guys? What kind of bearings do you roll? Do you have a?
We have AVEC 9, same as you.
So we roll. I do Swiss.
Oh, okay.
Swiss.
Fair enough. Well, I guess I've seen AVECs all around, so I just assumed.
Wait, are AVECs? Are they the? They're not the porcelain ones, right? Not the porcelain, but the I'm trying to think of what they are. Yeah, I just roll the Swiss.
Fair enough.
Yeah, sick. Right on. Well, look, dude, you grew up out here in Cali, so you're born and raised here.
Yep.
Right on, native like us.
Right like us, yes.
Yeah, that's sick, man. So growing up out here, you were saying that you were growing up as a Christian. You were raised in a Christian family, we'll say.
Yes.
But we have, as we've been touring around the United States, doing skate park tours with the Whosoevers, we've come across a lot of skaters and scooter riders, and especially when we went to Idaho, dude. You guys have taken over Idaho, and they got really good parks up there, by the way, in the Boise area.
Okay, fair enough.
And they're in our new Full Send film, but there are a lot of people that follow the movement, so I'd want you to speak to them and just encourage them, because I know, and that right now it's a pretty crazy time to be living, a lot of noise, a lot of distractions, and there's a lot of opportunity to walk away from what God's called you to be, and walk away from what your love is for your hobbies or your passions.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to get distracted. And when you told me you were raised in Long Beach, I was like, this is going to be sick.
Yeah.
Because Long Beach, Snoop Dogg, right?
Yep, that's us.
Long Beach is not it's a interesting neighborhood to grow up in. I have a lot of friends that live there, and it has a lot of cool stuff from the culture that has, hip hop. You got a lot of punk rock bars, rock and roll bars. You got the art scene, skateboarding. You got so much cool, creative stuff happening in Long Beach. And there's a lot of distractions. You get caught up in a lot of different things. How was it, first of all, growing up? What was like your family life growing up as a Christian in Long Beach, just starting up before you even got into scootering?
Yeah, sure. Well, I was raised in a Christian household. My parents weren't necessarily like strict about our walk with the Lord, but they always pointed us to God's standard of living, the Bible, and they allowed us to make our own decisions. but you make your own decisions. You also have to live with the consequences. And they were, they allowed us to go through that, which honestly I'm very thankful for, because, that's kind of like a good way to kind of learn to become your own person and define what your relationship with the Lord is going to look like, because you can't just be piggybacking off of your parents or anything like that. But, I didn't start scootering until I was about 10, and at the time I was just kind of messing around with it. I didn't really have any plans for it. There was some contests that I started going to when I was 12, and so that was like the start of kind of, I think, the fire that I have for the sport. And as my passion developed for it, things like the Lord just kind of opened doors for me. By the time I was 14, I rode for the first time in a professional competition, and I got sponsored by the company I ride for, still, Lucky Skeeters. And since then, the Lord's kind of like just continued to bless me in that, which I've been grateful for. And what I've taken from it is that the Lord gives us those passions that we have, whether it's skating, scootering, music, or whatever it is, for a purpose. And He wants us to embrace those desires and use it for His kingdom agenda.
I like what you said, and I want to even expand that. Like, it's those passions. Some of you guys, maybe you're not into like action sports, or maybe you're an artist, or maybe you're a musician, or maybe you have this desire to be an attorney or whatever. Any of those are all passions that you want to do these things, and God, you could use all these things for His glory. Now, when you got into scootering, like, did you play any sports before, or were you like, what'd you do before you picked up a scooter?
I played soccer.
So you're a soccer. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're always good with your feet.
Yeah, that's me. I still have a great love for soccer. I was just telling Lucas that I was playing pickup this morning, but it came down to it. I had to choose scootering or soccer, and it was like, you know what? Like, I like doing my own thing, not so much the team thing. I like doing the individual sport of scootering, So I chose that.
I grew up playing soccer my whole life. That was it. Like, soccer, select. I was trying to get in a club. I was able to get in a club, but I couldn't afford it. My family couldn't pay for it because
so much money.
Yeah, I know. I was like, dang, those are all the rich kids right there.
Yeah, exactly.
But dude, soccer, I played it all the way to high school, but then I got caught up in that noise and I lost my passion because I should have played soccer in school, but I started smoking weed and I just got derailed.
Yeah.
And I just stopped progressing even in skateboarding and, all those things. But with you, which is rad about you, is that you stayed focused. And that's what I want to speak into those people that are listening now, that they want to follow their passions and they don't want to get derailed. So growing up in this environment, how did you not get derailed? Was there opportunity to get off track?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, I think we're all presented with any opportunity to do anything that we want.
Right.
But because I think I was kind of always surrounding myself with people who knew the Lord, and I was constantly, well, not constantly, I don't want to, put myself on like a pedestal. Everyone has their
Wait, you're
issues.
Not perfect?
Oh, shoot, really? No, but because I was in the Lord's Word and I was, that was kind of like in the forefront of my mind in certain instances.
Yep.
When I would go on these trips around the world, it wouldn't really be a question. It would just be like, no, this is like who I am. Like, I can do whatever I want, but not everything that I can do is beneficial to me.
Yep.
And so I want to be, wise with the choices that I make. That's all.
So you're saying that as you were reading the Bible, God was giving you the instructions to live life, and He's showing you those boundaries, and you knew you had your identity in Him, and you know who you are. You were secure in who you were, and you weren't trying to find your identity in these other things of the world. And that's what happens to people, is they get caught up and they lose their identity, and next thing you know, they're part of just not walking with God, and they lose themselves,
Yeah.
They lose who they are. And I just love, it's just cool, like when you meet people that are Christians, like, you're young. How old are you?
20.
Yeah. Young 20-year-olds that know who they are in Christ and secure and are solid. That's, when you meet other 20-year-olds and different people that don't have a walk with Christ, it's they're just, they don't know who they are. They're trying to find themselves in what they're listening to or what they're doing, and that's their identity.
Sure,
who they're sleeping with, or how much money they got in their pocket, et cetera, et cetera. But that God, from the very beginning of this radio show, you're like, you know what? God has been opening up opportunities, and he's been blessing me in these areas. And but he can give, he can take away, but
Sure.
we know that all things work together for good for Christ according to his purpose, and he loves you and he has a plan for you, and that's what you're watching happen in your life.
Yep, totally.
Dude, so sick. So as you were growing up and you started getting to scootering, how does it work? You have to drop video parts, or how do you get sponsored?
The whole scene has definitely changed quite a bit. I got noticed by Lucky from, I think, a video part. And I also had a couple mutual friends at the time that were on the team already. And the TM came and approached me and said, hey, we want to put you on. And at that time, it was like you had, like, video parts were the thing. Like, that's what everybody wanted to make. But now it's kind of transitioned. And it's interesting how everything's on, like, shorter form media platforms like TikTok and Instagram. Instead of doing these full-length video parts that are, like, 5 or 6 minutes long, it's like a 30-second clip of your best tricks, and I'm like, man, it's definitely it's more of like an instant gratification type thing. But that's just the way that it's changed over the years. For me, back then it was longer form videos, video parts, like a web edit. Now it's like more shorter form. Like,
That's what's crazy. That's the way it was. Like when I left Circa 4 back in 2008, it was video. It was still video parts still happening. And then as Instagram and all these started coming up, next thing you know, it's like you see someone drop this banger down this set of stairs, and it's like, bam, it's out, and you're like, then it gets views and it's taken off, and it's the rest is history. It's like that fast.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
And before, I remember we'd go on tours and go film video parts around the world, get all the best of, and then leak out the B grade stuff and other video parts here and there, and then drop your banger.
Yeah.
But what year did that? When did that end with the video parts? Like, what year was that for you guys?
I think honestly, it was probably somewhere around 2016 and 17, because like action sports in general didn't really start to get into like the whole Instagram scene until I think like I got my Instagram when I was 13, I think, so 2013, and then it was nothing really that special besides just a couple photos and maybe some videos when that started happening.
Right.
But 2016, 17, 18, and then coming up to now, it's like everybody just keeps going ham on this one platform. It's crazy. Yeah,
because I think at first action sports, they were still holding on. They were like, we're not going to drop it all on social yet.
Dude, now people are so impatient, and myself included, because like you have this trick that you've learned and you want to share it with everybody, and you don't want to wait to get all the rest of the other clips.
Well, the other thing too is you don't want someone else to go drop the hammer down,
Yeah, that too.
and then all of a sudden you're like, dude, I had this like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the other problem with social media. You got some no name kid from nowhere.
Yep.
That all of a sudden...
And they just take it from you.
He's just like that. and for the listeners, this is the way action sports work is like, if you see a trick done on a set of stairs or a handrail, and like say for instance, someone's like switch 50s down this, this hubba ledge or this ledge, and that means that has been done, and it doesn't matter if you do it because it's been done. So it's over. It's shut down for that trick. So now you got to go bigger and better. And that's why you got to get these tricks out. Isn't it nuts?
Yep.
It's crazy, too, how fast everyone has progressed through this whole... Like, what are you seeing with, like, scootering? I mean, you're seeing these kids that are just...
Dude.
These young kids, right?
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, you can't really keep up with it because, I mean, one, you got to delegate your time differently as you become older.
Right.
And, like, with work and just life in general.
Yeah.
Like, I can't spend as many hours in a day scootering as I did, when I was 13 as I can, now or whatever, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's hard to keep up. I see kids like on scooters with like cheese. Like
it's nuts.
It's crazy.
It's nuts. So now, like during this time with you traveling, and how have you been? How's God been using you now during this pandemic and COVID and everything that's been going on? Are you out? Like, how has God been using you during this time to represent His kingdom?
I mean, He's been using me through my social platforms. Like, that's like a constant outlet for me to be, giving in. But for the most part, like, as far as this season goes with COVID, I think He's been working on me mostly.
Tell
and
me
He's just been working on my heart and teaching me how to love people like Jesus loves us. Because, like, a lot of times I think it's easy for us to look at situations or look at opportunities as like, oh, what can I get from that person, or what can I get from that experienced or whatever. What's in it for me type of thing.
Yeah.
And I've noticed I have gone about like some trips like that before in the past, and it's not healthy, and that's not emulating who Christ is. And so he's been working on that, with me.
I love the way that you said. I love the fact that you said that, because that's so relatable to so many people. Because this isn't like something for young people. It's all ages. As I look at you. You have a lot of drive, right? I have a lot of drive. I just want to be great. And when I say be great, I just want to do great things. Like I want to accomplish goals is basically what I'm trying to say. Like I want to be a guy that can accomplish things in life. And I don't like to sit around. I don't like the time to pass me by. I feel like life's so short that, it's just like TikTok, it's going by. I'm not getting any younger, and I want to have accomplished things in life. And that's what God has created us to do. That's normal. But going back to what you were saying, it's interesting how as a Christian, you have to gauge relationships and opportunities as, you want to get ahead of life, but you also don't want to just be a me. It's about me and not care about people. And I think what you're going through right now is something that we have to continually reflect on as Christians, on to honor relationships and not try to just use people.
Right, yeah.
And that's something that I'm constantly looking at for like as you're looking for opportunities and different things, is like, your friends are your friends that you're like, yo man, hook me up. I got your back. I'm gonna hook you up too.
Totally.
That's one thing. But also it's like to love people as Christ loved people, because you don't want to be known as someone that's just looking for opportunities all the time. And again, you're trying to continue to pursue your career.
Yeah.
But it's God is he'll continue to do that. And I think he's doing a lot of stuff with a lot of people during COVID.
Totally.
Showing people with relationships and just dealing with people. Because when you're caught up in all the noise of life and trying to pursue things, you could forget about what really matters.
Yeah.
And it's loving people, basically.
Yeah. It's so true. Life is totally about community. And I think I've spent a lot of my life, to be honest with you, because I grew up being homeschooled my entire life. And that was just like the decisions my parents made. And it worked out because when I got into high school, I started traveling for scootering and stuff. And it was like, this is normal with the school and the travel thing anyway. So it's like no big deal.
Right.
But as a result of being homeschooled, and also just my personality being kind of like introverted and more just like I'm good on my own type of person. Yeah. I wasn't always like around that many people. And so now I'm realizing, or I didn't really have any big groups of friends, I should say. So now I'm realizing like, man, life is so much more about just like me and like what I can do for myself. It's like about how the Lord wants to use me to impact those within my sphere of influence. And it goes into like just being a good steward of like who the Lord, those relationships that the Lord has given you in your life, the time and how you spend it. And that could go into like whatever your craft is, and also just like the resources that he's given you as well.
Yeah. You know what? I want to encourage you with this. As you're going through this, in the life, you're going to be meeting a lot of different people in different areas. And what I've learned over, I've been working in the music and skateboard industry for action sports too, because snowboarding was connected to us from the distribution since I started going to trade shows back when I was 15 years old. So I'm 45 now. So think about that's how long I've been skateboarding forever and involved, but like being actually working in these industries.
That's sick.
And what's rad is these people that you come across, sometimes God just connects you with people. Yeah. Then 10 years later, you reconnect with them. Like Paul Gomez, he's one of the guys that was part of Billabong, him and Bob Hurley. And they left, they sold, and then they went and started Hurley Clothing. So I was working with him back then. I met him back then, and then he went over to Hurley. And later on, years later, I ended up becoming super good friends with him. And now he's helping me with business and different things, even with the movement and my other business and stuff like that. But back then, it wasn't like that. It was a whole different relationship. But God brings people in your life. And that's why it's like you want to, every person that you touch, or you come in touch with, God has placed these people in your life. And it might be for a later time, for something greater, or even just to I mean, my friend Paul, I ended up baptizing. Like
That's sick.
later on down the line, it became a God connection.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where he called me one day and he's just like, dude, God's doing something in my life. I gave my life to Christ. I just need to get baptized. Like, I need to get baptized today. And I'm like,
sick.
I got a pool. Like, come to my house. I'm coming right now. I'll be there in 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
sick.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like these special moments. I look
Totally.
back, I'm like, man, I would have never guessed me meeting this guy 15 years ago, you know, partying and doing whatever. All of a sudden now I'm baptizing this guy in my pool.
That's
and he's
so
like,
sick.
I'm coming over there now. You
That's
know?
sick, yeah.
So it's just really cool going back to the whole relationship thing. And even during these times, I feel like with the COVID virus and everything that happened, it's kind of really showed people what's important with community and just with Christ and how people are going through crazy things. And with your platform, we got 4 minutes till the break. With your platform, God has given you, he's basically given you favor, and he's putting you in the eyes of many people as an influencer, obviously. And this is the time that you just live in your life for Christ, and the decisions you make and the way you carry yourself in front of people, you're going to influence people. Like I've been, you know, I follow Bam, right? And, you know, Bam's going through some stuff right now, right? Because, you know, he's been through some hard stuff, and, you know, just a lot of people, like I see comments like, man, I used to follow this guy. I used to think this guy was a god and, you know, my idol and all this stuff. And now they're seeing like that he's going through some tough times. And my point with all that is you'll never know the influence you have on these youngsters. And by you just living your life for Christ and making these decisions and taking those opportunities to talk to kids and encourage them, that goes so far. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I would continue to do that as well. We're going to be going to break in a minute. Where do people find you?
On Instagram. You can find me on Instagram.
Say your first and last name, spell it so they can find you.
Cody Flom, at Cody Flom, CODYFLOM.
And you got scooters that purchase.
Oh, yeah. They're all on there. I mean, like, you could figure out who my sponsor is by all the tags that are on most of my posts.
Yeah, so just go to your Instagram.
Yep. Lucky Scooters is my sponsor.
Perfect. This guy's a good dude. I met him a while ago, and I'm stoked to have you here, man.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, check this out. We're going to be going to a break in a minute. And you guys, I want to plug, I have a new book, and it's on pre-sale right now. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Target, Walmart, wherever books are sold, you can get it there. You could just go to killthenoisebook.com, killthenoisebook.com. God's been hooking it up. It's number one for the new release right now on Amazon for 2 weeks straight, so I'm excited. That's only Jesus doing that, because not me. That's all you guys have been supporting, that have been purchasing the book. It's a faith-building book. It's a discipleship book. It's what we were talking about before about killing the noise. It teaches people how to kill the noise, find their purpose, and stay focused. I, on the other hand, got derailed. I was the other kid that went the other way. I wasn't you. I wish I was you. That's the real testimony. But my book is to get people that are maybe Christians that have got off track, you know, get them back on track. People that aren't Christians, to get them on track. You know, if you want to find God, this book will lead you there. There's tons of Bible teaching. It's a faith builder. It's a tool. Go to killthenoisebook.com. We also have a new film, and it's on the whosoevers.com. It's called Full Send. It's one of our tour videos where we go to the skate parks and we're doing Best Trick, and we're leading hundreds of kids to the Lord. I think we got in front of over, almost 2,000 kids on that trip. But it shows just the Great Commission, us going from town to town, city to city. Jesus is the model. Go there to the whosoevers.com. We got product, we got slip-ons, we got t-shirts. All that supports the ministry so we can continue to go out and do free events. And we are booking the Whosoever's Mega Tour, and you need to get on it. We're doing the Mega Tour all across the United States. Skate parks are open all across the United States. We're coming this summer, and we have several states opening up that are inviting us right now. So book us. We will come and we will bring the gospel. We want to get the kids plugged into the church so they can get discipled and develop. They could be the next president, next pro scooter rider, next skateboarder, next attorney, next whatever. We'll talk to you guys in 2 minutes right after the break when we get back. Peace.
More of The Ryan Ries Show. Coming up, post your questions at Ryan Ries on his Instagram, Twitter, and or Facebook. Now, back to the Ryan Ries Show.
All right, we're back in studio with Cody Flom, a professional scooter rider, and I've seen some videos on Instagram, and he's full sending it. I want to see your video part, though.
Yeah, dude, I got you.
I want to see you chomp some rails and, some set stairs and ramps and
All of it.
everything.
Well, I classify myself as a park rider, so I'm more on like big ramps and stuff like that.
Got it.
More recently, I've been messing around with like actual street spots.
Really?
Which I'm pretty happy about because I've never really been one to like hit big handrails and stuff like that. But I think it was like a month and a half ago. I was with some homies. We were at this like abandoned water park, which is like, dude, it's like a playground for anybody in action sports.
Yes.
And there's this massive 14 stair handrail into like this big bank that was like right after it. So you had speed and you had to like slow yourself down and then drop
You
in.
got on that?
Yeah.
A 14 stair?
Yeah, dude. That's the most I've ever done. I was pretty happy with it.
You're all like, yeah, I haven't really hit any street stuff. 14 stair. That's kind of. I was thinking like, yeah, there was like this 10 stair. I lipped it or whatever. That's nuts. So you got the footy?
I do, yes.
Is that like out?
No, it's not even out yet. This is for my new video part. So.
Oh, it's going down. Yeah. That's gnarly.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm gonna watch it after.
Oh yeah.
All right, hey, you know what, dude? I love how this conversation has been going down because we've been talking about just life nuggets.
Yeah.
Practical life stuff. So during this time, also, what else has God been tugging on your heart, or should I say, like, what's He impressing? Like, what's next for you, or just this new? Do you feel like you're going into a new season? What do you feel like God's speaking to you? I guess.
I think that He's just continually calling me to be like faithful with everything that He's given me right now, and being a good steward of like the relationships that I have with my close friends, the relationships that I like make with people around the world via my social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also just with like work. Practical work, you have to work to live, and scootering and fitness and whatnot, stuff like that.
Right.
And to be honest, like I think that's like a big thing for most of kids like my age or people my age, to be like good stewards of what the Lord has given you, because I think a lot of times we get into these seasons of just kind of like doing things just to do things without a purpose.
Right.
But when we realize that we're living for the kingdom agenda, or when we choose to live for the kingdom agenda, it kind of just gives this like revitalization to everything that you do. The smallest things can be so exciting and can fill you with joy because you're doing it for something that's so much bigger than yourself. I think a lot of times why we get burnt out with just like whatever your sport is or whatever your craft or your art is because we're just doing it for some frivolous thing like money, for example, because that's such a common thing. Money is not going to satisfy you. It's going to make you happy for a moment, but the only real true source of sustained joy and happiness comes from Jesus and God, that kingdom agenda. So I would encourage like everyone, including myself, because I need this, totally. Every day is like purpose everything that you're passionate about for the kingdom agenda. So
how do you stay on purpose agenda? Like, tell the listeners, how would someone stay on it?
Mm-hmm. Well, it just comes down to like who you are giving the glory to and all the accolades and all the accomplishments that you have with whatever you do. For me in scootering, I've been blessed to be able to come top 5 in a lot of, high competitions or whatever. And I'm aware that the Lord has given me this talent. And I know that it's part of it is because I've trained and I've done well with becoming like a high qualified athlete. Right. But when it really comes down to it, it's because the Lord has given me that ability to begin with, and making that known to the people around me and the people that the Lord has put in my sphere of influence. When I am, at top 5 or whatever it is. Right.
Have you? Has anyone ever tried clowning you because of your faith?
Oh, more. Yeah, I think definitely. I think for the most part, I've been able to kind of stay out of a lot of drama, to be honest with you. Like I said, I'm kind of like an introverted person. I'm like cool on my own. And I'm aware of like the kind of like snickers or I don't know how you'd classify the scoffers or whatever.
What's the, I guess the question would be is what's in the scooter scene, what do they think about Jesus? Like in the skateboard scene, like Jesus is a joke. Like it's a free, we're running pentagrams and we're like the opposite of Jesus in the skate industry. How's that represented in the scooter world?
Well, you kind of have to look at the demographic of scootering. Skateboarding, I think, is a way broader demographic than what we have in scootering. Yeah. At least for the people that I influence, mostly like park scooter riders, it's like 10 to like 14-year-olds. Yeah. And there's other people in the sport that are older, but those mainly like within my sphere of influence. These kids, I think, are a lot more impressionable, and they're more accepting to that. Not necessarily like, oh, yes, Jesus and God. Like, there's not really any other heads in the scootering that know the Lord and talk about the Lord openly. Yeah. But there are kids that I think are like open to it.
It's more open.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's amazing. With that said, with the openness of the kids, I was going to ask you another question off of that. I completely forgot. With the openness of the kids, how do a lot of them do they ask you about Christ at all, or are you when you share with them, like what's are they
for the most part, like these kids, since most people that I am around in scootering are so young, even getting to 16 and 17, that's still pretty young. Yeah. They don't know what type of questions to ask, and so what I found the most beneficial thing for me to do is just to love them. Yeah. Like Jesus did. And I think that it's a misconception, and I've put it like on my own life, that the Lord needs you to talk in order to be a witness for who he is. Yep. And I've just come to find dude,
relationship.
He doesn't need you to say anything. He just wants you to show people who he is, who his son is, through how you treat others.
That's dope. I love that because there is. I always say from the show that there's a time to talk, because a lot of people are like, oh, if they find out you're a Christian, oh great, he's trying to close the deal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you need to repent, you need to give life to Jesus, say the prayer. Okay, boom, yes, got one. Right? Look, you know what I mean? And that's not what it's about. It's about developing relationships, and especially in our communities when we were talking about, in the park scene. Obviously skate parks. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, you're right.
if you're visiting somewhere and you're trying to party, stop by the skate park. You can get the goods.
Yeah, exactly.
Any skate park.
Yep,
in the world.
Yep.
It's colorful there, right?
Definitely.
But with that said, is that I tell people listen, guys, it's all about developing relationship. Look at Jesus as the model. You go in there. There's a time to speak. There's a time of not to speak. Like when we go on the Great Commission, with the Whosoevers. This is a Great Commission trip, but we go there. We go to the skate parks. We're flyering it. We go there and we do a best trick contest, and we're skating actually with everyone there for 2 hours. It's a session.
Yeah, that's
we're
sick.
giving high fives. We're having a good time. We're playing mainstream music. We're just doing whatever, skating, breaking it off, and then after. We give out the cash for the best tricks. Actually, as because we skate each different obstacle, so we'll do $20 on this, $20 on that. We're flowing the cash as we're doing it. So there's no wait till the end. We're gonna tell you about Jesus before we give you the money.
Yeah.
No, we're throwing them the money. We give out the skateboards or whatever product we give away, the shoes, and then at the end, we're like, hey man, let me tell you why we're here. Then they have the choice whether they want to go or stay, and guess what? They all stay. Because we're all homies.
Yeah.
We just sessioned for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we're chilling.
Yeah,
And
totally.
then that's when we go in there. That's when we give the Great Commission. But then there's other opportunities where I have this when I was up kind of by my parents' house up in Diamond Bar. I was going to skate in this local skate park a lot, and I just started skating there, and I was meeting everyone, and everyone's there smoking weed, drinking, doing the whole thing, and I'm just sessioning this park, skating for months, and I get to know basically everyone there.
Yeah.
Never say nothing until one guy comes up and he's like, "Oh, I'm so hungover," and this and that, and I just kind of shared a little bit I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
This and that. Anyway, it turns out these guys are Ryan's the homie. Hey, we want to do a best trick contest. And I'm all, really? I go, I'll put the money up. I'll make the flyers, and I'm going to get In-N-Out Burger to come set up an In-N-Out truck for
sick.
free burgers for everybody.
That's
They're
sick.
what? And I set it up, dude, and we had the biggest skate contest right there in Diamond Bar with all the homies, and that led to me leading some of them to the Lord.
Yeah.
And that was about 4 months of skating with them before anything happened.
Wow.
And they just saw me.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, Ryan's cool, he's normal.
Yeah.
But they knew, they started finding me on Instagram, and they started knowing who I was and what I was about. But dude, it was cool. I didn't freak them out. It wasn't weird, but it was through that relationship.
Totally, yeah.
That's
so sick.
So it's awesome. And you're doing that same thing and just being available, and people get to see, who you are, and tell us some cool stories about tour. I don't know, what are some cool stories that have happened, how God has set you up when, for something, or just God did something. It doesn't even have to be someone leading to the Lord. Maybe just answered a prayer of some cool thing. Or
Yeah, before, so 2019 Action Space was held in the UK, pretty big competition, and I had a filmer that was coming out with me to capture the whole trip there. And the Lord put on my heart before the trip, probably a week before, to create a video of kind of showcasing what I do and why I do what I do. So it's just an edit with just my hardest riding from that trip, with a voiceover of just saying, hey, this is who I am, and this is what it's like being a Christian athlete. And so we filmed that video. I competed that week as well in the UK. Ended up, doing pretty well there. And then we finished the video, and when I got back, I knew the Lord was going to use it for something. And I got a call from my buddy Tyler, he was a pastor up in Lompoc at the time, and he said, "Hey, we're doing these Hope rallies at these schools next week. We're going to 3 different schools, and we want you to be a part of it." And so we went there, and I was given the opportunity to use that video kind of as an attention getter for all these kids that were in the gyms there at the school, and it was pretty awesome being able to share my testimony and show hey, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I do what I do. And give the glory to God, and they, did their whole, they did an altar call there as well. And it was just kind of like a God thing, just like an idea that turned into this opportunity to talk to people about like the good news. It was pretty dope.
That is sick. See, dude, I love when God sets it up. And Tyler, Calvary Chapel Vista.
Yeah, now he is Vista.
That's up in Lompoc. That's a cool little spot up there.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Kind of just by the beach, out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Really cool. And he was doing all that stuff with the kids. I think Ben even went up there and spoke. Mm-hmm. So dope.
They're homies.
So, hey, when you were in UK, were you in like London?
Well, we fly into London. I've explored there, but a lot of the big skate parks are just in like random little towns. The one that was held for Action Space was in Stroud, which I mean, like I don't think any of us would know where
it's
it
weird.
is.
Like when I went there, so there's like called Meanwhile. Like I looked up all the parks. Meanwhile 1, Meanwhile 2. Then there was the Sony PlayStation Park that was under the bridge. I don't know if you went to that big one.
I didn't, but
yeah, but they're all in these. You have to take these trains in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
And then they're like, mate, go up there, make a right, go through the park, this little thing, and then there's the park.
Yep.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It is.
I know. I went to one park over there, and they're like, "Hey, mate, this is like the ghetto, watch out." I'm like, and it was like beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Oh, really? These little thug kids come start smoking weed. I'm like, oh no. And I was there by myself, and I didn't know. I was just like, I'm going on a skate park mission.
Yeah.
And just hitting it up.
That's sick.
All right, so let's talk about what do you got going on now? Has your sponsors talked about taking you out anymore, or is there what's in the works?
Right now we're working on, with my sponsor Lucky, we're working on the 4th version of my signature scooter, which is super exciting because the cool thing about the scooter is that I'm not a graphic designer, but I have a lot of ideas and I have a lot of things that have made an impression on my life, and I get the opportunity to include those things on that scooter.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things I've done for the past 3 years with Lucky is include a Bible verse on all of my decks, and it's been really cool. Like I feel like we were talking about the scooter community and how they're semi accepting of who the Lord is.
Yep.
I've been doing that since 2016, and people have been buying this stuff, and it's pretty awesome seeing the Lord's name just like getting out there.
So what verse is it?
Right now, for this new one, the V4 is 2 Timothy 2:4, which is, no one serving as a soldier entangles himself in the concerns of citizens, but instead he seeks to please the commanding officer, which essentially it's kind of like a reminder to myself that my citizenship isn't here on this earth. I'm living for, my citizenship is there in heaven. I'm living for a purpose and an agenda that's like much greater than what I see right here and now. Because a lot of times it's really easy for me to get caught up in like all of these issues and these dilemmas that I see that are right in front of me and that's like tangible. But like you were talking about like the unseen world and the spiritual realm, that's where I make an effort to kind of like keep my head in focus of, because that's where my identity is found.
That's dope, man. I like that. It's so true. And it's not just you. That's everybody is struggling with that. That's the constant fight.
Yeah.
When Paul talks about the war between the flesh and the spirit.
Yeah.
It's like you see the not the spirit realm, but you see the material world constantly, and it's constantly going, come on, I call Satan the fisherman, because Jesus has called us to be fishermen. But Satan's a fisherman as well. And he throws those shiny objects, those little lures, shiny lures, the rainbow lure with the glitter. Like, hey, check this out, He wants to hook us.
Yep.
And what he does is like, we bite and we get it hooked, entangled, and we get entangled in all these different lures he sticks out that hooks onto us. Yeah. And what it does is that you look at yourself in the spirit realm, is like all these lures, these hooks are connected to you, and what they're doing is they're just slowing you down, pulling you off course. Yeah. And the goal, obviously, of a fisherman is to catch the fish and to gut it and kill it, basically. And that's what Satan wants to do. And that's why Satan is he's the king, or the prince, it says the prince of this world. Yeah. And he knows how to put these things that we will be like, these shiny objects, we'll be like, what's that? And we'll constantly go after that. And that's why we need the Bible. We need the Word of God, because if we want to stick to our passions, stick to our call, stay focused on the agenda of Christ, we have to be in the Word, and that's how God speaks to us.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, and He grows us, He leads us, and that's the whole deal. So, okay, so here we go, because we're going to be coming to an end soon. And thanks a lot, dude, for being on. This is, I didn't know how this conversation was going to go. Because, Ben Course is just like, that's my boy.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Ben.
okay, I'll do it. And I just knew, like, I had Ben on my show
Sure.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was really dope.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it again.
Yeah, that's sick.
Because he's awesome.
That's sick.
And maybe one day we'll get both you guys in the studio. Because look at this, I got extras.
Yeah, totally good.
And we'll just open it for phone calls, take calls. That would actually be really
That
fun.
would be really cool.
Okay, we're going to do that. Next time he's in town, we'll get you and him here and we'll open up the phone lines.
Okay.
And it'll be like the Wild West.
Okay.
All right? We'll do that. So tell me this. What would you want to encourage people with tonight? Just wherever they're at, like say they're, I guess, in their life and they're just, they don't know how to find God's call. They just feel like since the pandemic, everything's slowed down. They lost their identity. They just don't know. Maybe they don't hear God. They don't sense God's presence. They're just kind of in a place of just complacency and like, whatever. What would you want to say to that person?
I would say to that person that you're loved and you have a purpose. And you're loved because Jesus died on a cross for you. And then you have a purpose because you have a savior and a kingdom agenda that you can live for. And I think a lot of times we think about like what our purpose here is on earth. And like what that looks like practically. Like I could say, oh yeah, my purpose is scootering, and glorifying the Lord in scootering. That's like the practical vehicle that I use to accomplish the greater purpose. But I could also say my purpose here on earth is to be friends with my neighbor down the street. Like it could be anything really. It's just like get in the general vicinity of like what you like, and then use that vehicle to go up towards the Lord. That's basically what it comes down to, I think.
How do people get in tune or connected to God if they have no connection and they don't even know Him?
It just comes down to reading His Word, honestly. And it seems like very daunting because it's a big book, or it's maybe you don't read or whatever it is, but that's our way of communicating with the Lord, the creator of this universe. And it's a blessing, really. And I think I know I sometimes take it for granted. Sometimes I'm like, dude, I just want to go hang out with my friends. Like, I don't want to go and read. But when I really stop to think about it, it's like, no, I'm being given like this opportunity to come into the presence of this person, this God that's created everything around me. And He's given me so much. He's given me so much favor and grace. And I have this opportunity to talk to Him. Prayer is us talking to the Lord, and reading His Word is Him talking to us back and say, hey, this is the deal. This is why things are the way that they are in this world. And it's really cool, honestly.
Now, what if there's someone listening and they don't know how to give their life to Christ? What does that look like? What do they do? They're driving right now and they're like, okay, dude, I want to meet this God that you're speaking of, this Jesus Christ.
Sure.
What do I do?
It comes down to giving up whatever you're finding your identity in right now that is apart from Christ, and saying to Jesus, hey, you know what? I know you've died for my sins. I know I don't have to be living as a slave to the sin that I have here in my life right now. And I want you to take that away. I want to give that to you. I want to lay that here at the feet of Jesus, and to, you audibly say that, or whatever it looks like to you. That's on you, really.
Yeah.
But Jesus will fill in the blanks in that area and say, and kind of like lift you up and say, hey, like, I'm here for you, and I love you, and I want to give you a purpose here on this earth.
I love that verse, that one that we know so well. John 3:16 and 17. God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, which is Jesus Christ, that whosoever believeth in Him will not perish but have everlasting life. It says that God didn't send His Son into the world to judge the world, but to save the world through His work on the cross. So all you have to do is believe by faith that Jesus died on the cross, raised from the dead, and He lives. And you ask Him to forgive you of all your sins, and what He did on the cross with the blood that was shed, He'll forgive you and wash you white as snow. And then He'll implant the Holy Ghost inside of you, the Holy Spirit, and that's the power from heaven that will literally bring those desires and those passions under control that are destroying you and give you new life, that new abundant spirit-led life. Because Satan has come to steal, kill, and destroy, but Jesus has come to give life abundantly. And it's literally that simple. There's a Bible app. There's a Bible app, and you could download it for free. And I think there's like 550 million people attached to that.
That's sick.
So go download it. And it has every translation. Go get the New Living Translation. If you got ADD and you're a horrible reader like myself, very simple language. Read it. And start in John, Gospel of John in the back in the New Testament, and continue till the end and keep reading it over and over and over. And God, it will move in your life. And I do want to plug the book. The next step also is the killthenoisebook.com. It's a new book I came out with. I actually wrote it in the pandemic.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it was written in the pandemic, and I said, if I ever write a book, it's going to be a tool that I could give out that could literally, if someone's struggling with addiction, they could overcome. If they want to know if God is real, they will find out. And if they want to live a sold-out life for Christ, this is the book. It's for all walks of life, all ages. It's never too late. I gave my life to Christ when I was 33 years old. And I remember just going, what the heck am I going to do now? But God goes, I'm going to use what you've done before, doing music festivals, working with bands, working with artists in the action sports. I'm going to use that. And then I'm going to give you new things. I'm going to give you a desire to go speak, to go bring people to the Lord. I'm going to give you a radio show. I'm going to show you how to write a book.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how to do films. I'm going to give you a family. God gave me so much more than I ever expected, but that's what God does. He's not a genie either. You don't just rub the thing, go, I want this, I want that. It's not like that. It's in a relationship. Because I have a relationship with my wife, I want to do great things for her. Because I have a relationship with my kids, I love them and I want to help them. And that's what God does. We're His children. He's our loving Father in heaven. He loves us and He wants to do great things in our life. So go check it out. It's on Amazon. Everyone has Amazon Prime, right?
Yep.
Get your free shipping on right now. Amazon Prime, it's there. Look it up. All the endorsements are there. Just people that have read it, like Skip Isaac and I don't know, all my rock star friends and different pastors that have read it and that are just really stoked on it. So it's a tool. It's for you. It's for your family members. Get it. And thank you for supporting everything that's been going on with the Whosoevers. Cody, thank you for being on the radio show. We're going to do the Ben Corson and the Cody in studio live calls.
That would be sick. I want to do it.
We'll text him and we'll have Lucas contact him, headhunt him, and get him down here. He's been texting me, when are we going to do it again?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I did a pre-recorded show with him last time.
Oh, got you.
Because it was during the day. That's the only time he could do it.
Yeah, he's not into the whole late night thing.
Yeah. But we're going to get him here.
Yeah,
and it's
let's
going to
do
go
it.
down.
Yep.
All right, hey, I love you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, brother. Peace.
This has been The Ryan Ries Show. To connect and find out more about Ryan, click on ryan-reese.com. Check us out next Saturday for The Ryan Ries Show.